Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
This one.
You've spoken about how when you're not feeling well, that you get rest. And in our meditation class, how is the best way to work to keep the energy moving?
Well, it's, the best way is to do it the way you always do it. Just try to get as centered as you can, open the heart, feel gratitude. That Shakti flowing through your system, if you do that, will act, please try and sit still. Joshua, try and sit still and do the meditation. That Shakti that will flow through your system, it'll be a healing agent. The first thing it'll clean up a lot of the resistance and tension inside you that is involved with getting sick, And that energy flows through the chakra system and will transform a lot of the negative energies inside you into something positive, into an energy that will activate Kundalini. So I just suggest doing the same thing. And if you get tired, you can always stop. You don't have to force yourself to sit through an entire meditation, especially when you have the problem that you have. Don't force yourself to sit through it. But as long as the energy is flowing, it'll really act as a healing agent. It'll build your system and give you the internal strength to be able to combat, this COVID thing that you're fighting right now, So, look, Bob, I shouldn't announce this, but, I have COVID also right now. And it's in the final stages of it. I haven't been really sick, but a lot of it had to do with years of the work I've done on myself that built up a strength inside me that is enabled to keep something like that, from really getting bad inside, And I don't know, this meditation is, when done properly, it is a very powerful force. Something that can be used to transform tension into, love, into joy, into Shakti, into energy that nurtures you inside. And it helps build a system that can combat many of the problems that take place with illnesses and stuff and keep them under check, not allow them to take over. So that's what I suggest. If in the middle of the class, it's too much and you can just go lie down somewhere or go, turn off the camera and rest. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to feel guilty about doing that or feeling like you are forced to do the meditation for 45 minutes or whatever the class goes on. But my experience with this meditation is that it really builds a system inside that, it helps the immune system. It helps everything inside one. And yet, we're all human beings. We're going to get problems. I got COVID. I've had COVID since last Thursday. I've never had any temperature or my oxygen level was always good. I never felt terribly sick other than maybe having a mild flu. But every time I tested myself, I had COVID. Today, I don't feel anything at all. I have COVID in my system, So I have to be careful. I don't want to give it to anybody else, Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Bob. Don't worry about it. A couple of days it'll really ease up, Just rest. I mean that, rest. And this meditation can help you rest. It'll break up. Please try and sit still, everybody. If you're moving, it really disrupts the class. And even the talking is part of the class. I know everybody is sitting there. They're all alone in their bedrooms, their living rooms, wherever you are, you know, kitchens. But there's a group of 25 or so people here that are part of the class. And if you move and fidget, you disrupt the whole energy of the class. So please try and sit still, you know, and it's just a respect for what's going on, you know, and not wanting to disturb the energy of the class. I mean, if you have, you know, your head swivels or your arms go up, you know, and I mean, that's the energy doing it. That I don't care about. But when people fidget, look around and scratching themselves, it's not the energy doing it. It's a lack of focus and discipline that's doing it. So please try and stay centered. It's just another couple of minutes. It's not going to kill you, you know? In fact, it'll give you your life, learning how to stay centered. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, this is Jason here.
Yes.
Could you talk about, are there different kinds of love?
Yes. Many different kinds. I mean, I don't understand, you know, this could take up 4 hours here. What, narrow this down to something that's answerable.
Well, I'm wondering if there are special people, or if God's love is kind of the same for everybody.
I would say yes. I would say that God gives everyone, every living thing, the time to develop, you know, a state of enlightenment. The love is infinite. The compassion is infinite. It's people that create the mess. It's people that are in their minds and they have opinions and they're fighting with each other and I'm right and you're wrong. And they create the mess. As I've said many, many times in these talks, the energy of God, the energy of spirit is not positive, it's not negative, it's just energy. How people have been conditioned in their life and the development of a system inside, or the lack of development of a system inside that enables them to use that energy to grow spiritually, the lack of that development, you understand, is exactly the way that energy goes from them to other people in the world. If your heart's open, if there's love inside you, if you have developed a really, you know, powerful chakra system, if you're focused below the navel, if you've built that kind of an inner life, the energy will flow through you and nurture you. And what will come out of you in your relationships with other people in life? Compassion, love, joy, you know? So there's a two-way street here. It's not just God's love, it's what people do to themselves and how people work on themselves, you know, and the time we are given on this planet and what we do with it to build a spiritual life, to build a chakra system, or whatever religion somebody follows, to learn the principles and develop a closeness and a connection with higher energy in the universe. So it's, you know, it's a two-way thing here. It's divine energy, which is pure energy. It's not positive or negative. It's not polar, you know, energies conflicting with each other. It's just pure energy. But it goes into the human mind and all of this conflict is there. Tension is there. Angst is there. Goes into the heart and all that emotional, it's like an emotional swamp in people. So the energy is not healing the people. because the people don't make the effort inside to truly develop an inner life that allows energy to enter the chakra system and help them to grow. But in terms of the energy, we are given infinite numbers of lifetimes to work out our bullshit. And I mean, is there any greater love than that? Having that kind of patience with the human race or with life? And whether or not we make that effort, that's a whole other story. That's what these classes are for. That's what their other teachers do, hopefully helping people to build that kind of an inner life. I don't know, because I don't run around to different churches and ashrams and see what people do. When I met Rudy, he once told me, he said, "You'll never need another teacher." And he was right. That's why I did. When I was in India a lot, I used to go to gurus and swamis and rinpoches, and, just to see what people taught. And then I said, well, nobody even got close to what Rudy taught. So I kind of stopped doing it. I mean, that's what's wonderful about this. We determine how much, Shakti will work inside us by the amount of openness in us. And I think that's a very good way of approaching your spiritual practice, understanding the work that one has to do in order to connect with God, in order to transform the incredible suffering and difficulty that goes on in his life into a spiritual life. And they say God is love. It's true. And the more open you are in yourself, the more of that love is going to pour through you. It's the love of God that creates all of this here, And I hate to start sounding like some theological minister, but there's a truth in that, It's almost cliched, but there's a truth in it. And human beings dam up the works. I mean, from the earliest ages, we're trained in dogma and doctrine and how we should live and how we shouldn't live. And all of that congests people in such a profound way that when you go out into the world and there's so much diversity and so much energy, and so much that we can learn, but we're so trapped in all of that dogma and conditioned behavior from the day we were born, through family, through friends, through, schools, through, it just tries to control people. And yet you step out the door and life is this unbelievable university of knowledge that we can receive. And all we need to do is to embrace life. Let life be our teacher. Much better teacher than Stuart. As I've told you many times, my job is to help you build a chakra system that can allow you to sit in front of life. And this, Rudy told me, I'll never forget it. It took me 20 years to learn what he meant. But he told me that as the moment I was leaving for Denton, Texas to teach, What he said to me is, if anyone ever asks you who the guru is, just tell them it's life. I mean, you know, thousands of things he said to me. That one was imprinted on my, it was engraved on my soul, you know, that teaching was so powerful. Because I was this little thing, and, you know, in life was such a big thing. And I had to learn how to grow to sit in front of life and let life be my teacher. It's all a manifestation of spirit, and everything, because of that, everything is sacred. Whatever you learn about that helps you to grow, you know, is a sacred energy. Even negative things, sometimes terrible things that we go through, you know? Does anyone else have a question?
Sure. So I was wondering if there's any signs of progress that you noticed in yourself or your students in building the chakra system. Are there any signs that it's progressing well or you're on the right track?
Well, you know, look, I can only talk from my own life, okay? And to me, the signs were, I was getting to like myself. I was getting to feel that I was worthy of having a spiritual life. I was beginning to develop balance and foundation in myself that allowed me to deal with a lot of negative situations without allowing them to drain me of my energy. My whole system was getting stronger. And in building that kind of system, in a sense, I began to see the energy transforming itself and activating Kundalini. And as it activated Kundalini, it got me closer and closer to a state of spiritual enlightenment. But this was not intellectual stuff. This was living experience through the practice of the meditation. And it certainly didn't take 2 days or a week. It took time. And then I began to respect time and to use it more consciously to build my inner life. And the things I talk about today, I couldn't talk about 20 years ago, 30 years ago. No way, you know? I didn't have the clarity, that pointedness, the spiritual energy flowing through me. Those are the guideposts. Your experience. And then having patience. If you don't have these kind of things initially, all right, this is what's missing. I got to do the work in order to open deep enough to allow these things to come through my system. It's all there. The only thing that dams it up is each and every one of us. I mean, the universe is dying to give us wisdom and knowledge and joy and love, and we block it up. And then it takes time to overcome ourselves. As I've always said in these classes, the only person that we're up against on this planet is ourselves. So instead of looking at the, blocks and tensions negative, you look at them as they're just a reminder, I got to work on myself. They're not negative. They're just telling you haven't arrived yet. And as long as they keep telling you haven't arrived yet, your system will get healthier and healthier. As soon as you have this voice in your head that tells you arrived, it's all over. Because you're connecting to infinite energy in the universe. How do you arrive? It's just an endless process of growing and refining yourself. And enlightenment comes because we refine ourselves and we get to a state where we become literally children of God living in the world. To me, those are the guideposts. And I mean, I learned that from my teacher, Rudy, who spent a lot of time with, and I saw him deal with those guideposts and how he dealt with it, and the wisdom he imparted to me about how I have to learn how to deal with those things. There were internal blocks and then a lot of external blocks, jealous people. And I mean, there's nothing worse than the spiritual world that consists of jealous people. I mean, it's the worst thing probably on the planet Earth. That gurus and swamis and all these people that are jealous of each other, you know? And I've been through that a lot, trust me. And it also made me go deeper. I said, Stuart, you will arrive at a point where this doesn't bother you anymore if you continue to grow. And I arrived at that point where it just bounced off of me. It didn't matter what other people thought about me or what they said or did. I was totally uninterested. And it wasn't avoidance. It just, I arrived at a point where it didn't affect me anymore. I hope that's clear, you know. I mean, it's really a very important element in the practice of this meditation. Does anyone else have a question like to ask? Okay, there'll be a meditation tomorrow evening, same time, same Zoom. You know, I tell you, you know, look, I did a retreat last weekend, and I'm not sure I'm going to do another retreat. You know, I really mean this. Unless this COVID thing goes away. You know, I mean it, because, you know, we out of the retreat, 6 people wound up with COVID. And you know, I mean, thankfully, nobody's going to go to the hospital and ventilators and all that stuff. But, you know, I can't run a kindergarten, you know. I don't want to have to walk around testing people whether or not, you know, they have it. And I just don't want to do that. I'm tired of that. And it became very difficult. And I was one of the people, I mean, look, I work hands-on with everybody. I'm hugging everybody. You know, I was amazed that I didn't get COVID until last Thursday. I mean, it's amazing. And I'm just tired of it. So I don't think, I was going to do a retreat in February. I'm really not sure of that. Unless this COVID thing stops and, you know, people can come. And I'm not sure that's going to stop in my lifetime. You know? So we'll see what's going to happen. You know, I mean, it was very difficult. The retreat was great. People changed, they grew. They're always like that. Really powerful weekend, you know, full of a lot of love and joy. I mean, it was extraordinary what went on there. But I'm just concerned about people getting sick, including myself. I might even stop in-person classes or make people test themselves before they walk into my apartment, because I can't afford to get sick. I have too much responsibility, you know? And so I'm gonna, a lot of changed in me after that retreat, you know? So we'll see what's gonna happen, you know? But anyway, I just wanted to tell you all this, that it very, you know, became, I'm not complaining about the retreat. It was extraordinary. I saw people changing in front of my eyes. I mean, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening, I was sitting with different people. It wasn't the same people that started the retreat. The energy was so powerful and so transformative. It was extraordinary. You know, what I'm talking about is the lack of responsibility of people saying, you know, I should test myself. You know, this is Stuart, this is a retreat. There's a lot of people here. Before I let me find out if I'm sick or I'm not sick. You know, that's really what I'm talking about. And then it made me think that I don't want to do another retreat. I might not even have in-person classes unless somebody is willing to test themselves right outside my door, you know, to make sure they're not sick. I mean, this is just practical living, you know? And I have to, you know, look, I'm not 35 years old anymore. And you get these illnesses and they can be very serious, although my chemistry is strong enough that it fights all these things, you know? As I said, I had COVID, but I had no symptoms virtually in the last 4 days. But then there's the problem, I can't interact with people. And, you know, because I don't want to give anybody this problem. Somebody might not have my chemistry, you know, to deal with it. And then Jennifer, bless her soul, she's been like an angel, you know, extraordinary. And the help she gives me and how she, you know, dealt with this whole thing, extraordinary. So anyway, I just had to share this with you. I'm not getting on anybody's case, but I just need a lot of consciousness and responsibility in people. And because this is not easy work. What I do is not easy. Doing a retreat like that, my God, you know, by the end of the retreat, I could barely, you know, very powerful stuff. And it's a joy for me to see people changing in front of me. It really is. But I need that responsibility. Hey, I'm going to go to class. I'm going to test myself and see if I, you know, how I am. And, you know, it might be childish. I don't know. But it has to be something like that. Okay, if there are no more questions, there'll be meditation tomorrow evening. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. God bless you. As I said to the people in the class this afternoon, you know, you're all my teachers. And I need teachers. I need people to show me the work that I need to do on myself. And I just feel an enormous gratitude for everyone that attends these classes, you know, and thank you. You're certainly helping me get closer and closer to a state of being that I truly was born on the earth to attain. So bless you all. Thank you. Bless Rudy, bless Nityananda, bless these amazing teachers that are passing down this work to us. And hopefully every one of you will use it, you know, to develop your own life, your own connection with God. So God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Stuart.
you, Stuart.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.